One of the things I'm really big on is helping our community, especially really understand the importance of financial literacy. I'm a mama's boy, by the way, so I'm super
Okay.
excited to see my mom. One of the big things that people don't really understand is one of the best ways to build wealth is saving more money on tax. 7 years old, and she starts opening the door, and I'm looking up at her, and I see like this look of shock on her face. I'm like, what in the world? Next thing I know, I see a gun pointed at my mom's head just like this.
For real?
What's up?
Life of a hustler, gotta do it for mother, gotta do it for father, even though he act like a sucker. Life of a hustler, gotta do it for granny, gotta do it for brothers, even if they think I don't love them, been getting active and hustling.
We back with another short episode of the More Action Podcast. I'm here with my new friend Michel. Now, if y'all have seen Paid in Full, he's also known as Money Making Mitch. So go ahead and explain where that name came from and what you do.
Love it, man. My name is Michel Valbrun, aka Money Making Mitch, and yes, inspired by the movie Paid in Full, one of my favorite movies of all time. Okay. And just really, I just love the ambition and the story of how people literally came from nothing, were able to make some money. However they did it, but they were able to figure it out. But for me, one of the things I'm really big on is helping our community, especially really understand the importance of financial literacy. And one of the big things that people don't really understand is one of the best ways to build wealth is saving more money on taxes. And a lot of people don't realize that, but like people are literally giving half of their money away to taxes, right? Think about this. When you make money, you pay tax. When you buy something, you pay tax. When you purchase property, you pay tax. When you sell the property for more than what you pay for, you pay tax. When you die, they hit you on tax again, right? And you have all these different taxes, but what a lot of people don't tell you about is one of the biggest taxes of them all is ignorance tax. And that's the tax that you pay by not understanding how to save money on taxes. So that's my goal, is to really help people understand how to save money on taxes.
Wow, that's amazing, man. And
sure.
Growing up, honestly, the people in my family, they talk about taxes the same way they talk about death. Like they say the only thing promised in life is death and taxes. Do you believe that's true as a CPA? Or do you think there's ways around taxes?
Oh no, for sure. So we have to deal with it, right? We got to deal with death, we got to deal with taxes, right?
Yeah.
But paying more than what you need to, that's optional, right? A lot of people don't realize that a lot of people are overpaying in taxes, really tipping the government, paying more than what they need to because they don't know how to save money on taxes. They're not informed about how to be able to save money on taxes. And one of the reasons why is because society tells people that there's two different tax systems, one for the poor and one for the rich. But I don't believe it works like that. I really believe it's two different tax systems, but it's really one for the informed and one for the ignorant. So if you could be informed about the tax code, if you could understand how to save money on taxes and understand the game of taxes, because really it's just like a game, right?
Right.
You wouldn't try to play any kind of game not knowing the rules. You want to play spades, you want to play basketball, you want to play tic-tac-toe and not know the rules. And that's why a lot of people overpay, because they don't know the game and they don't understand the tax code. And really, the tax code favors business owners and entrepreneurs.
Right. Do you remember any stories from the first people you helped?
Yeah, so for me early on, it's funny. When I got into it, right, so I went to school for accounting and tax, and I started working with this couple. I was doing tax prep at the time. And I started working with this couple, and they ended up owing some money on taxes. And they turned to me and was like, well, how can we save money on taxes? And here I'm thinking, like, I got this college education, I understand taxes, and I didn't know how to help them. I froze.
Wow, so they stumbled you.
So they stumbled me, and I was just like, wow, if I don't know this, and I'm supposed to be college educated and understand taxes, then I can imagine millions, if not billions of people don't understand the tax code. So for me, that's when I really got into a lot of self-education. I came across this book, Rich Dad Poor Dad, that really helped me understand financial literacy, and he broke down what's called the cash flow quadrant. It talks about the 4 ways you can make money as an employee, self-employed individual, business owner, and investor. What's really interesting that the tax code favors people who are business owners and investors. Why? Because as a business owner, you're employing people. So that's one less dollar that the government has to give to unemployment. As an investor, you're putting money into businesses. So that's one less dollar that the government has to put into businesses. So you're helping the government do its job. And if you do that, then you could be able to save more money on taxes.
Wow. See, when you brought up Rich Dad Poor Dad, I thought Robert Kiyosaki, I'm a big fan of him too. I watch Millennial Monday sometimes.
Yeah.
And is he a role model of yours, or is there anybody else that you look up to when it comes to CPA and tax strategies?
Yes, I would say he was one of the early people that really got me into financial literacy. And then also I have other people that I have a ton of mentors, but one of my first ones was Tony Robbins. He really shifted my mindset about life in general. And then over time, I began doing a lot of self-education, a lot of self-learning, and began learning and studying the tax code. And that's kind of how I got into the space. But really, one of my biggest educators is actually studying the tax code, learning it, and working with high-level individuals, and surrounding myself with successful and wealthy people, right? Because once you start doing that, you start hearing different things, you start learning different concepts.
Now, see, I don't want to give away too much of the game, but what's the craziest tax strategy you used to save taxes?
So I use personally, so one of the things, it might seem crazy to people, but one of the things I do every single year, I host a mastermind on my birthday, right? So I basically turn my birthday into a tax write-off. And the way I do that is that I host an event, I host a mastermind around my birthday, and because it's a business event, I'm able to write off the venue. Usually I get a mansion, I rent out a mansion, I get food, I cater, I do a whole bunch of other things, and that turns into a tax write-off. Why? Because when you're able to go ahead, typically when you do something for business purposes, then you're able to turn that into a tax write-off. So that's probably one that I personally use. And then I also, one really interesting, I didn't do it personally, but despite how people feel about him politically, Donald Trump, one of the things that he did recently is his ex-wife, she passed away. So one of the things that he did was he buried his ex-wife at one of his golf courses, which turned that golf course into considered a cemetery. So now he doesn't have to pay sales tax, property tax on it, income tax on it.
Do you feel like breaking that down anymore? Because we just kind of went through that a little quick.
Yeah.
You said he buried his ex-wife on a golf course.
Right. So
turning it into a cemetery.
So it reclassifies it into like a cemetery, right? Which becomes like a nonprofit. So it was a very specific, unique loophole for New Jersey. So it's not, you can't do it anywhere. You can't do it in every single location. Wow. It's not like you could do it in your backyard and be able to get away with it. It was very strategic on the location, whereas this tax loophole to where he was able to go ahead and do that and save money on taxes. So that's just one crazy tax loophole that just like, when I heard that, I was like, yo, this next level.
Now see, I'm going to go ahead and shout out Marvin Francois because he introduced us. He immediately called him his Haitian brother. So give us a little bit of your background. Are you Haitian 100% or what's your background?
So my family is originally from Haiti, and they came to the United States to give my sisters and I the opportunity to be able to live the American dream. And, growing up, I lived with my mom and my dad, and we had there's this experience, right? So my mom was coming home from work. I'm a mama's boy, by the way. So I'm running. Okay. I'm super excited to see my mom. I'm 7 years old, and she starts opening the door, and I'm looking up at her, and I see like this look of shock on her face. I'm like, what in the world? Next thing I know, I see a gun pointed at my mom's head just like this.
For real?
Real life.
Oh,
this is
wow.
True story, right?
Okay,
no, this is real life. No. So a gun's pointed at my mom's head like this. I'm like, what? I don't know if there's this person about to shoot my mom in front of me. I don't know if they're about to kill me. And next thing I know, this guy says in Creole, "Diti gaso kushatea," which means tell the boy to get on the floor in Creole. So my mom repeats it back to me in English. She says, Michel, he says, get on the floor. And I'm scared. I'm 7 years old, shaking. I'm on the balls. Literally on the balls of my feet. I lay down on the floor. More people start coming in with guns, and they start searching the house. And by the grace of God, none of us are physically harmed by that. But they ended up running out with a shoebox full of money. And come to find out, there's a shoebox full of money because one of the things that my dad did, he kept money in the shoebox to avoid taxes, which is illegal, right? It's called tax evasion. He ended up getting arrested because of that, and it got kicked out the country, deported, because I pretty much lost all communication with my dad ever since then. But it taught me a really valuable lesson. I said, hey, whenever I figure out this money thing, I want to make sure I help people do so legally and ethically. So that's kind of my mission, and that's how I got into this space. So, yeah, for sure.
That is a crazy story because I've heard, there's a difference between tax avoidance and tax evasion.
Big difference.
That's a crazy gem right there. I mean, all stories have lessons in them. So thank you for sharing that. And,
for sure.
Honestly, man, we got to do a part 2 because
Absolutely.
This interview, didn't last too long, but we got plenty of information in this last couple of minutes here. So
for sure.
If you go ahead and let them know where to follow you, where they could get your services at.
Absolutely. Yo, make sure you guys tap in with me at Michel Valbrun on Instagram, all social media platforms, honestly, but MichelValbrun, Michel Valbrun on all social media platforms, most active on Instagram. Make sure you tap in with me. Always giving out free gems on how to be able to help you be able to save more money on taxes and build wealth. Let's grow.
I know I'll be hitting you up, man, because I'm trying to grow a business and I got to save on taxes. That's crazy stuff. I appreciate you.
Yeah.
All right. Till next time, More Action Podcast. We'll do something.